Light. Welcome to Forfellingness Belysning illumination from the ancestors, guiding your path today.
Every day, someone's little girl, daughter, sister, girlfriend, fiancé, wife, cousin, mother, auntie, grandmother, great grandmother, elder, disappears, shattering a family, a community, the world. There is something we can all do. Remember them.
God Morgan, and happy Tuesday to you. I hope this week has gone wonderful for you so far, and that you're able to find some comfort and peace. A lot of darker energy floating around, particularly with those displaced from Western Alaska. We hope that all of you, find comfort and peace today, as we speak of a way of recovery, a way of recognizing things for something that are very different. As always, I want to start this show by saying thank you to all of you who have liked, followed, and subscribed. Thank you so much. Your support means everything in the world to me, and certainly helps us to distribute this message even further. I do want to give a huge shout out to my friends and family at New Reality TV, newrealitytv.com, a streaming channel dedicated to different perspectives of our spiritual journey. Hopefully one that will resonate with you and just give you hope and move you forward through your evolution to becoming a better version of yourself. Well, today's show is brought to you by Mountain Rose Herbs. Mountain Rose Herbs. From the green breath of the earth come roots, leaves, and blossoms, carrying the wisdom of the ages. Mountain Rose Herbs gathers these gifts with care, offering teas, tonics, and remedies that restore balance to the body and to the spirit. Walk the path of natural healing, natural growth, and natural comfort. Find the way at our website, akumedia.akulfhednar.com. So, thank you so much again for joining us this morning on Tuesday. Today, our lesson is about the Well of Úrd. Now, the Well of Úrd I call it the Well of Úrd. Some may refer to it as the Well of Mímir. They're one and the same. This well, which held one of the roots of Yggdrasil, the center tree of life, was guarded, if you will, by the three Norse sisters, the eldest being Úrd, which is why my ancestors referred to this well as the Well of Úrd. It was her well. Being the eldest of the three sisters, she possessed the most wisdom, and therefore was kind of associated with the well. But let's talk about what the well is. Now, this well really comes to fame in the saga, a story that we hear of Óðinn, who visited far and wide, would eventually discover this well, and would offer to trade one of his physical eyes that he may drink from this well, knowing some of the things that we're going to talk about today about the well. And so the Norse sisters would agree, and of course from that day forth we recognize Óðinn as having an eye patch over one of his physical eyes. So excuse me. Oh, the throat is trashed, so I apologize if I sound very scratchy. So, the Well of Úrd, let's talk a moment about Yggdrasil. Of course, the center tree of the universe. And it connects several stories that I've heard from a multitude of belief systems that really kind of have value here. The first being that Yggdrasil, being the center tree of the universe, we're all connected to it. How are we connected, you may ask? Well, great question. We're connected through our center energy post. So if you think about each of us, every existence that's ever been or ever will be, connected to Yggdrasil like the leaves of a tree. All right? So we have a stem and we're the leaf. Okay? So in our stem passes the energy from the universe and from us to the universe. It's an interchange. This center stem drives from our crown chakra up top. Wow, man, my hair is terrible. All right, so it drives down through our form, all the way down to our root chakra, located at below our pelvic area. And all of these are simply gates on the center stem of energy that connects us up through the crown chakra to the tree Yggdrasil. Super understandable when you think about it. So if you take the belief and understanding of the chakra and this center energy form, we can really see now how we're connected to the tree, great tree Yggdrasil. Now, as we pass energy, now remember, several episodes ago, last week maybe, we were talking about how when we experience things in the physical realm, and we're doing the interpretation, right? So we're using our emotional state, our DNA, we're converting what we've seen, what we've experienced into our memory. We spoke about the cross being between our memory and our physical brain, rather, and our spiritual self through this thing called memories. And all of our memories that we create in our physical form are available now through our spiritual self to the spiritual realm. This is taking that experience that we have in our physical life, and it's passing it through this center stem of energy back to Yggdrasil, and then it begins to filter on back all the way down to Yggdrasil's trunk, where it eventually winds up being reflected in the pool of Úrd from the root of Yggdrasil. So Yggdrasil's root provides a reflection in the water of the well of all of these experiences, which is how Óðinn, who would drink from the well, was able to gain all of those experiences because it was reflected in the water. It was reflected in that well. So all of our experiences, all of our interpretation of our experiences pass through to the spiritual realm that others may also experience, right? Because as our memory goes up through our energy stream into our stem, which connects to the branch, right, on Yggdrasil, that experience kind of, like water, kind of fills the branch. And so others within that branch, within that larger branch, all the way back to the trunk, all of these individuals are able to interface or interact with that energy that we have returned to the spiritual realm. So it's all super collected until it gets into the branch of Yggdrasil, where it can go pretty much anywhere. So this is how we pass our experiences to the spiritual realm, and it really is a great thing. It really is, because it it allows others around us in the spiritual realm, so on the tree of Yggdrasil, to experience our experiences secondhand. So, super important and super exciting that we're passing our experience onto the spiritual realm. Now, this draws into now my understanding. If you think about this stem coming down into us, our stem, and then in that stem, let's see if I can do this right here in the camera. All right, so we have these branches. Where are you? There you are. Poof. We have branches that come off of this center staff, this center beam of energy, and these junctures, these junctions where energy can be distributed, are called the chakra. And the chakra are typically spinning discs. And from time to time, like right now, I'm assuming, based on my throat chakra being very tight right now, that we have challenges of our chakras kind of freezing up, just kind of locking in position. And so the energy that's coming down through the chakra passes through it, because we still get energy down below it. But as far as distribution at that site, we're going to have challenges, right? And so, like I am experiencing today, my throat chakra must be kind of locked up. And so would take some prayer, take some focus at getting that energy, getting that chakra turning again, at which to distribute the energy of healing and growth and evolution through my throat and actually heal it. I've yet to do that, so probably something I'll look at doing today is getting that throat chakra spinning again, so that the energy is. Now, it also brings into focus the idea of our authentic self. So bringing everything down to just our interpretation of what's coming through our stream, right? And what energy we're getting from the crown chakra, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, on down. All right. So all of this energy can be used and distributed. And if you think about areas of our body that are having challenges today, and we say, boy, my knees really hurt. So what's going on with our root chakra? The root chakra is located below the sacral, and so it's kind of the lowest of the chakras. And so we kind of have to look at that and go, well, why is it my root chakra spinning? And so kind of focusing on that. Remember, wherever we focus, we concentrate, we're sending energy to. So by focusing on the root chakra and putting that in the forefront of our brain, we're actually sending energy to getting that sucker spinning again, all right? And getting the healing energy out to the body. Remember, the energy stream that we're taking, the authentic energy stream that we're receiving from Yggdrasil, produces healing and growth and evolution and just, a different way, different energy to help us see things from a very different perspective. And that's kind of the idea. So in that way, we're kind of looking at it. It kind of brings to my mind anyway, the idea of the chakra, this authentic self, and the legends of Yggdrasil all together in one. Now, it also brings it all the way down to the sagas that we read about Óðinn and drinking from the Well of Úrd or Mímir, depending on which stories your ancestry may pass to you. So a bunch of different ways to look at this, but ultimately understanding that the Well of Úrd produces a reflection of all of Yggdrasil. of every living thing connected. And every living thing that has ever been, is, or ever will be, is connected to Yggdrasil, the center tree of life. So we think about the giants from the stories of legend. We think about the elves, the dark elves, and the light elves. We think about all of these different mindsets within the tree of Yggdrasil that we will be exposed to simply by being connected to it. And that energy flows both ways. We draw energy like the leaf. We draw energy from the tree, Yggdrasil, and we produce energy to the tree. So much like the leaf that draws the water from the tree and draws in the oxygen or the nitrogen or the carbon dioxide from the air and pushes it back into the tree, we similarly do this energy exchange of our experiences and simply pass that into the tree, Yggdrasil. So the tree, both from a realistic or physical perspective, as well as from a metaphysical, as far as recognizing its value, it kind of shows us how we interact with all the realms, right? Whether it be the the lens of Asgard at the uppermost part of the tree, or Helheim at the root of the tree, all the way down below even that to these roots. Now, according to Norse legend, there were 3 roots. And the one we're thinking about today is just the one that's in the Well of Mímir, or the Well of Úrd, as my family has recalled it. And how the Norse sisters would have guarded this well. And those who drank from it, in Óðinn's case, sought wisdom. Well, they weren't actually getting wisdom. They were getting all of our experiences, which now connects us to the last of our stories today. And as we built our experiences based, we then weave that experience in with our our intellect, and that creates this thing called wisdom, or it also creates the thing that we use quite frequently, and that's the imagination. So both of these have a very powerful piece in our lives today. So the experiences that we're drawing from Yggdrasil, and particularly the Well of Úrd, these experiences are allowing us to connect multitude, just a grouping of intellects and knowledge pieces within our mind, kind of connects them all together to create this thing called wisdom or imagination. Now, imagination, as we know, kind of feeds back into our sensory input, helping us to define that time where we have to fight or flight. Okay? So that's really the job of imagination. All right? So a lot of value there. All right. So before we get started today, or before we get much further, let us communicate with the gods and ask for Óðinn's guidance and wisdom. May he grant us this knowledge and these boundaries based on our runes, the drawn runes for today. All right, and we are covering it. The runes, again, simply a small tile with a character on it. And then in this case, we are going to draw Kanaz. Kanaz. Interesting. Kanaz is the rune of humility, but it's also the rune of cognitive faculties, clarity of thought. And what Kanaz is telling us today is that we should look for new information. We should keep our eyes and our ears out for that information, maybe that experience that someone else has had, as they retell it to us and pass that energy from them to us, we may be able to link things within our mind and actually create a level of wisdom regarding that piece. So it's talking about transformation. It's talking about changing our way of thinking, changing our way of thought as we connect different pieces together to create this wisdom or this manipulation ability called imagination, right? So very important that we kind of feed into that. So Kanaz is our rune for today. By all means, please feel free to meditate and consider it for yourself, what Kanaz means to you. All right, we need to take a real quick commercial break. When we come back, I want to talk about how we can use the Well of Úrd and the understanding of all the legends around it to help us move forward in this life, to kind of help us to form a balance or certainly an understanding of ourselves and our reactivity to the world around us. So we'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
The time is now.
We're all waking up.
We're waking up.
We're all waking up.
It's all shifting.
New vibrations.
It's you.
It's you.
It's me. It's all of us.
Together.
A new time.
A new day.
A new energy.
A new energy.
New reality.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
NewRealityTV.com.
Thank you so much for taking that quick commercial break. And as always, I want to give a huge shout out to my friends and family at New Reality. I cannot appreciate them enough for helping, letting us be a part of something magical. Their channel dedicated to providing a plethora of perspectives of our spiritual journey is a gift. And I encourage you all to check it out. All right. As always, or again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, today's show is sponsored by Mountain Rose Herbs. I personally use them all the time. I have quite a selection of herbs and particularly teas that I have collected from them. They are a wonderful provider of a multitude of herbs and spices that you can use for just about anything, whether it be culinary or natural healing. All of these things can be used. So wonderful. Check them out, mountainroseherbs.com. Or you can check it out with our other affiliated groups at akumedia.akulfhednar.com. So /sponsors. So check them out there. So today we're talking about the Well of Úrd and how we can use this in our modern day life. Well, the first thing is to remember that what is the Well of Úrd? Well, the Well of Úrd is a collection of experiences. It is no different than sitting down with an elder and having them tell stories and tell their experiences in this lifetime, and to just embrace that, just to absorb it, allowing it then to help us to create our own level of wisdom, very akin to what Óðinn did by taking a drink from the well of the root, the well, sorry. He was able to absorb all of these experiences in his drink. Well, we can do that simply by sitting with elders and allowing them to tell their stories, to elaborate on their experiences that they've had throughout their lifetimes. By absorbing that energy, we're actually drinking from the Well of Úrd. We're actually absorbing those experiences that then allow us to build our our own level of wisdom and our own level of imagination. So, in your everyday, modern day life, don't think that our history has no value. It has an amazing value, particularly when it's tied to an individual. One of the earliest stories I received when I began channeling and in my trance work was this analogy of looking at our lives as being like looking at a rain puddle, a puddle on the ground. And as we looked at it from our perspective, the surface of the water reflected the sky, opposite and up from us, from the looking into the puddle. And we could see the edges of the puddle, and maybe over on the far side we could see into the depth, and see how deep the puddle was, and this, that, and the other thing, assuming it was clear. And we could change our perspective. We could begin to step around the puddle, looking at the puddle from different perspectives, all the way around to where we returned to our original space. But the true learning, the true growth, the true expansion of our own mind began when we turned to the person standing on our left or to our right. And we asked them, what do you see in the puddle? What do you see? And as we had them explain their view, their perspective of the puddle, we not only were receiving their sensory input of what they saw in the puddle, but we were receiving their emotional interpretation of the puddle as well. Because as they retold their stories and they would tell their perspective of the puddle, we're learning kind of the manipulations that their physical form has placed on their sensory input of that puddle. So we're beginning to grow. We're absorbing this experience and building our level of wisdom. So this is why it's so critical that we create a harmony with other people, and we allow them. We just open ourselves up to the opportunity that they can provide for us their experiences, and their experiences help us to grow, to evolve, to just maximize our wisdom, and certainly the understand the imagination over our sensory input, whatever that may be. So all of those things are very, very helpful in helping us to understand our trajectory, our path through this life. Okay, so stop and think today. Think about our experiences, and certainly don't be shy. Find an elder. Find one who has had experiences that you haven't, and absorb those experiences as a second hand. It is through those experiences that you're building your own wisdom and your own imagination. So hold those tightly. All right. So spend some time today as we embrace tear and the courage, maybe, to invite those elders and to reach out to those elders and receive that information. Those experiences will be priceless in building your own wisdom and your own imagination. So grapple onto that. All right, my friends, tomorrow, Wotan's Day, we look at the wisdom of Wotan and what that means from a everyday perspective, how we can use that today. I do want to close by offering more prayers, more hope, more energy to those affected by Typhoon Hailung in Western Washington, or Western Alaska, sorry. And hopefully you find comfort, some level of comfort. I know in these, particularly in these earlier days of disaster of that magnitude, it's hard to find comfort. It really is. You feel so displaced. You feel so lost. You're unsure. The whole future is just upside down. Many of them lost their homes, or their homes are now unlivable. So, it's just a lot of change going on for those folks, a lot of dark energy really focused around them. So I ask for prayers for those folks, and I always offer mine all day long, every day, that you may find some level of comfort, some level of peace as you move forward into this new chapter in your lives. So I ask that you be well. Think about yourself, think about your family, and of course, be safe. And we will see you again tomorrow as we embrace Wootens Day. Love and light, my friends.
Watching Fulfillingness Belysning, a special production of Whispers of the Norse. Brought to you by the Alaska Ulfhednar in South Central Alaska. Guidance and wisdom, courtesy of an ancient Celtic Norse shaman. Thank you so much for joining us today.